The final season of Street Fighter V is upon us, and this time around, Capcom released fairly detailed patch notes, along with some short explanations as to the reasonings why they chose to make certain changes. You can find the links to the official patch notes in this video's description. Ken's change list is pretty short, as he didn't get much in the way of major buffs or major nerfs. What he did get though, is a few fairly nice quality of life adjustments and some minor buffs. Here's a look at each change and how it affects Ken's gameplay. Standing Heavy Punch. Expanded the hurt box during recovery. This is a slight nerf to Stand Hard Punch, making it a little easier for characters with long-reaching 3-frame normals to punish, and for all characters to whiff punish. The reward Ken gets for landing this is still pretty massive. Option selected conversions into V-Skill 1 full combo is a really good tool to have. Overall, this didn't change very much. Standing Heavy Kick. Reduced knockback distance on crush counter. This is a quality of life buff to Standing Heavy Kick. Now that the opponent is knocked significantly less far away, the arc which the opponent falls through is much more favorable for Ken. Mid-screen, this makes it much more likely for Ken to successfully confirm into follow-ups from Standing Heavy Kick's ideal usage range. In the corner, it is now easier to perform Ken's optimal no bar and V-Trigger 1 follow-up combos. Prior to the knockback change, if Stand Heavy Kick was cancelled too early, Ken could easily pass under the opponent with Run. If he was too close to the opponent, he could also pass under with a V-Trigger 1 activation. This change to Stand Heavy Kick resolves those issues and makes both combos easier to perform. Crouching Medium Punch. Added a projectile-proof hurt box to the upper body from 1 frame before active attack time begins until the attack ends. Using the tool SFV Diff, we can more easily see and understand this change. Here, we can see the hitboxes for Ken's Crouching Medium Punch in Season 4 as compared to the hitboxes in Season 5. This change effectively makes Ken slightly taller when using Crouching Medium Punch from frames 5 to 8. The additional hurt box above his head is immune to projectiles but can still be hit with a strike. Crouching Medium Punch was never exactly an anti-air or a low profile move, but it was useful as a counter poke in some situations where you would also want to crouch. In my experimentation, I have not yet found a situation in which the additional hurt box is a significant factor. However, there may yet be some unexplored. Normal Hadouken, all versions. The entire move has been shortened from 49 frames to 47 frames total. Change the frame advantage on hit from -2 to 0. Change the frame advantage on block from -8 to -6. Improved Hadouken is Ken's most significant buff this patch. The entirety of the move being shortened by 2 frames better enables Ken to follow up after his projectiles. Furthermore, an additional 2 frames advantage on hit and block improves Ken's zoning and mid-range presence in almost all circumstances. Ken is now able to safely throw a fireball in situations where he was previously punishable. V-Trigger 1 Hadouken, all versions. The entire move has been shortened from 48 to 46 frames. They changed the frame advantage on block from -7 to -5. This change follows suit with the adjustment to his normal Hadouken. He gets all of the same benefits, just slightly more enhanced. With Heat Rush active, Ken's fireball game goes from just about adequate to pretty decent. Normal Heavy Shoryuken. Reduced the third attack's knockback distance. Now special cancelable 7 frames before the end of landing delay, on hit only. Lowered combo count start value, only when the third attack hits. Points 2 and 3 do not apply to Heavy Shoryuken performed immediately after landing from Shinryuken. This is probably the most curious change on Ken's list. If you strike the opponent with only the last hit of Heavy Shoryuken, they are now put into a float state that enables Ken to follow up with a juggle. This only works if the third and final hit of regular Heavy Shoryuken is the first hit in a combo. It does not work after crush counters or if you special cancel from the recovery of a Shinryuken. While hitting an opponent with the third and final hit of heavy Shoryuken is an extremely rare occurrence, if Ken does happen to strike the opponent with only the last hit of heavy Shoryuken, he can now special cancel out of the last 7 frames of recovery. Listed with the other universal changes, Capcom made note that they changed the juggle point terminology to combo count. The combo count start value refers to juggling and the juggle point system. Put succinctly, this change to the combo count start value is what allows Ken to juggle into special moves after the last hit of heavy Shoryuken. Seeking to land just the final hit of heavy Shoryuken proves to be pretty strategically suboptimal. Majority of the time, you're either going to trade with the opponent because you've resolved all of Ken's invulnerability frames by the time you're so high up, or the opponent will be hit too far away to follow up with anything at all. This change, while ostensibly a buff, doesn't seem to have huge implications for Ken's gameplay. The utility and application of heavy Shoryuken doesn't really necessarily align itself with landing the new float state. Normal light Tatsumaki Senpukyak. Reduced knockback distance when the second attack lands in midair. This is a great quality of life change. With the reduced knockback on the second hit of light Tatsu, Ken can now perform several combos in the middle of the screen that were previously only possible in the corner. Normal, medium Tatsumaki Senpukyak. Reduced knockback distance when the second attack lands on the ground. This is another quality of life change. This prevents the opponent from falling out of medium hurricane kick, especially when Ken attempted to convert from a whiff punish. V-Trigger 2, Shinryuken. Decreased the V-timer cost from 2000 to 1000 during the special move version's startup and during the button mashing part. This is a straight buff to V-Trigger 2. This now allows for Ken to get an additional use out of Shinryuken, or access level 3 Shinryuken after activation. The special move version, meaning any Shinryuken after the initial activation, now adds 1 hit of combo scaling. While this does make Ken's post-activation combos do slightly less damage, the main reason for using Shinryuken is not really the damage, but rather the utility. The utility of Shinryuken is fairly significant in the Ryu and Mirror matchups, and very significant in the Akuma matchup. Shinryuken, or even the threat of Shinryuken, can shut down projectile usage from a Shoto opponent, which gives Ken much more control over the mid-range. In the Akuma matchup specifically, Shinryuken is a direct counter to Akuma's V-Trigger 1 and many Raging Demon setups. The hitbox that draws the opponent now starts at frame 6 instead of 7. Shinryuken's vacuum hitbox now appears 1 frame faster. Invincible to mid-air attacks from the 11th frame, V-Trigger version, or the 12th frame, special move version, until the end of active frames. This is a strange change. Shinryuken was never an anti-air attack, and it still isn't. The utility of an 11 or 12 frame anti-air seems extremely low. Furthermore, Ken's best anti-air conversions using Shinryuken all start with medium uppercut. Guren and Jinkyak. The character is now always considered to be on the ground during the move. Expanded the hurt box during recovery. Effectively, this makes Ken's super easier to punish. The super has complete invincibility from frames 1 to 5, so the lack of airborne frames is generally a non-issue. VShift. While the full utility of VShift is yet undiscovered, like many characters, Ken's V-Shift enables him to punish moves that he previously struggled with or that were extremely difficult to punish. Ken's V-Shift break provides him with a decent amount of corner carry and leaves him fairly close to the opponent. Landing V-Shift break is a nice option to have when Ken either struggles to approach or wants additional room to retreat. Ken's projectile and many of his more appealing block strings can be vulnerable to an opponent's V-Shift. However, if the opponent fails to successfully V-Shift break, he can punish them into another Oki situation. The developer notes mention that Ken has an offensive heavy playstyle, and that they wanted him to have an easier time rushing the opponent down. This is pretty confusing, since Ken's entire toolkit is basically designed and optimized for mid-range control and counter poking. His moves that do enable him to rush down are generally the weaker moves in his toolset. I'm confused as to why they didn't adjust either of his V skills, Air EX Tatsu, his standing medium kick target combo, or give him a way to consistently frame trap against 3-frame characters. Instead, they chose to buff his fireball and his DP. Developer notes are confusing. Anyway, I digress. After reviewing these changes, and with some experimentation, it seems that the new universal mechanics work both for and against Ken equally. And while the new quality of life and minor buffs are nice, they don't prove to significantly alter Ken's matchup spread. Thusly, I would say that Ken's overall power level and position on the tier list remains pretty much the same as in Season 4. Supremely, absolutely mid-tier. But I mean, hey, what do I know? This video, and others like it, are made possible by the generous support of my patrons. I would like to extend a special shout out to my Tier 3 patrons, Miss Patricia, Kyra Mamcha, and Zaku3. If you would like to see more videos like this, please consider subscribing here on YouTube, liking or disliking the video, and leaving a comment below. That being said, thank you for watching all the way to the end. I hope you have an above average day and a strong week.